All right, Mayor, I have time.
What's Bob?
Oh, sorry. Chair box.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, this is the time set for a meeting here in Renewal. Keep the show on the road. We're recording? Yeah, all right.
I just dropped this.
Go ahead, roll call.
Okay, Debbie Hamilton. Michelle Sumner. Gary Daigle. Larry Whitaker. Tom Boggs.
Here.
Sean Smalley.
Here.
Joe Grousman,
Here.
all present.
Okay, the introduction of media. Media tonight. Okay. Anyone wishing to speak before the agency tonight on any subject matter will need to fill out a speaker form and turn it into the recorder. Forms are available on the sign-in table in the back of the room. Please turn your cell phones off or silence them during the meeting. Oh. Announcement for the Zoom attendees. If you're joining tonight's meeting via Zoom, you will automatically be muted upon entry, and you'll need to identify yourself if your full name is not already attached to the device being used. You'll be unable to unmute yourself. If you wish to speak, use the raise your hand feature. To use it, click on the reactions icon at the bottom of your screen and click on the image of a hand. Okay, it's time for public comment. The purpose of this public comment period is to allow citizens to present information or raise issues. Time limit of 3 minutes per citizen shall apply. All citizens must come up to the microphone. We have no public comment for the urban renewal. Okay, first item on the agenda, consent agenda for September 12th. Do I need a motion?
Can I make a motion to approve September 12th minutes?
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? The vote, please.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Sumner,
Aye.
Daigle, Whitaker, Boggs, Smalley, Grousman,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, for agency business. We have a public hearing scheduled for, open the public hearing and staff report.
Mr. Chair, agency members, Tammy Trowbridge, City Finance Director. This is Resolution UR 2022-05 public hearing for considering a resolution to adopt a supplemental budget adjustment for this fiscal year. This incorporates two large projects that have presented themselves. We had plenty of budget for the line of credit and expenditure budget for if only one of these projects had come through, but they both came through like in the last few months, somewhat unforeseen at budget time. And even though the expenditures on the historic bank building are going to be reimbursed and only 60,000 is actually what the agency will be paying, the expenditures are going to be 260,000. And so those are going to be not offset. The line will show that we spent that much money. And so to do that and also purchase the property that the agency board has voted to purchase, this budget adjustment is necessary. And both of those items were not on the table when we did the budget. We were just expecting the standard projects that we know of at the time. And your options here are to adopt the supplemental budget adjustment or not to adopt. I would recommend, staff recommends that you do adopt them since you had approved both of those items, the historic bank building and the property purchase.
Okay. Good. So now we're gonna open this to public comment. Any public comment on the project? No. Then at this time, we'll close the public hearing. So now the next item is for the resolution number UR 2022.05 supplemental budget adjustment. Need a motion?
Move that we accept resolution UR 2025.05 supplemental budget adjustment.
Second.
So before we take a vote, well, we have a motion and second. Before we do the discussion, I'm gonna declare a conflict on this project. I just found out the other day that I have family involved in the project, so I'm gonna abstain from any voting on it. And now we have time for discussion.
Harry, does the bank building also get any money for being a historical building? Putting in for any fund
Well,
there?
that is funding most of this renovation. So they applied for a Main Street grant and historic Main Street grant, and they granted them $200,000 of funding, but they required a match. And the additional 60,000 is what Urban Renewal has committed as part of that match, as that match.
So all of that is rolled into it.
Yes.
And on top of that, we have to pay out of our funds, and they reimburse us.
Any other discussion? Okay. And we'll vote.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Sumner.
Aye.
Daigle.
Aye.
Whitaker.
Aye.
Boggs. Oh. Yes, you did. Smalley. Rouseman.
Aye.
Motion carries. Have that down as abstains.
Okay, and then the last one again. Update. Let's break an update on the old bank building.
So, over community development, the project's underway, so we've had the effective, survey and report provided. We are currently, midway through the effective removal, they're hoping to have it finished sometime next week. They are working on, the HVAC installation, and there's some demolition that's needing to occur prior to the finishing of that installation. And then we also will have this room for installation, which, we have 2 of those 3 beds that we need to obtain. It's moving along.
Okay. Anything else from the age?
One thing, separate question. Where are we with the liquor store and the building next to it as far as the situation?
So,
Mhm.
their grant, of course, was approved, and right now they're in the design phase. Gary Sadness had created 3 designs for them, and so it's a selection process on theirs. I believe they've come near, option, and so they're moving forward as well.
Thank you.
Good, we are done, thank you. City Councilman 5.
All right. States of America. And to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Justice for all.
Non-agenda.
Roll call.
Okay. Counselor Boggs.
Yeah.
Counselor Daigle. Counselor Whitaker. Counselor Smalley. Counselor Grousman.
Here.
Counselor Hamilton.
Here.
Mayor Sumner.
Here.
All present.
Okay, introduction of media. Any media focus?
Anyone wishing to speak before the city council tonight on any subject matter will need to fill out a speaker form and turn it into the recorder. Forms are available on the sign-in table in the back of the room. Please turn cell phones off or silence them during the meeting. You think we have any on agenda?
Madam Mayor, it could be because under my report, we're getting the homeless report. So if there's anybody here to speak to that, I guess give them in if you choose to. Do it now or do it again.
Announcement for Zoom attendees. If you're joining tonight's meeting via Zoom, you will automatically be muted upon entry, and you'll need to identify yourself if your full name is not already attached to the device being used. You will be unable to unmute yourself. If you wish to speak, use the raise your hand feature. To use it, click on the reactions icon at the bottom of your screen and click on the image of a hand. Public comment. The purpose of this public comment period is to allow citizens to present information or raise issues regarding agenda items only. There will be time at the end of the meeting for citizens to speak about off-agenda items. The time limit of 3 minutes per citizen shall apply. All citizens must come up to the microphone. Are either of these two about the homeless? The asked to speak. That? Yes. Okay, if you, which one are you, Deborah? Okay, if you'd like to speak now.
Thank you very much for the citizens. And I want to say that Wayne's been great as far as giving me updates and very responsive to any questions, but my name is Debbie Lyons, and I'm from the mill property that's attached to the homeless camp. Hastings Village is our neighbors. And we have some concerns. I understand that there's more people there and that wasn't expected. However, what the overflow to us has been, there's been a significant increase in trash over on our property. There has been dogs. There seems to be more animals running around there. And they've been coming over on our property. We have employees who work in the evenings, and the yelling and the screaming has been a serious concern of theirs. They are unwilling to call the police because we have the police hotline. But I just was asked to report this. The increased traffic on the road has also been a concern. People walking up and down the street and screaming. But the biggest concern we have as a business is recently there's been 2 fires. Someone set a mattress on fire and there was no way to put it out. And then also Sunday night, we have security cameras because we've invested significantly in keeping the property secure. We put in a whole security camera system. We remodeled our house. We're putting a watchman in. I know some of you are probably aware of the fencing that we paid for in order just to make it work for everybody, because I do understand the problem and I do appreciate what we're all facing. But Sunday night I'm watching the camera and all of a sudden I hear somebody screaming, "Oh my God," and a woman screaming, and there's fire and all this stuff happening, and we don't have any water. We can't put this out. We can't deal with it because I can hear them. And it's a very urgent situation. Pretty soon fire trucks show up, ambulance, all these other things. And through conversations, I find out that they no longer even have access to water to be able to deal with these emergent situations, or fire extinguishers or anything else, which is a warming situation. I just feel like it's all beginning to escalate as more people in the winter comes around. And I'm curious, I don't know if this is appropriate, but I'm curious how many of you have driven by there recently. Yeah, if you haven't, please do, because there's a lot of people there in need, but also the businesses, I think, and the employees are starting to feel it. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I didn't believe that I was wanting to speak until this nice lady was talking. I'm a resident.
You'd like to come up to the microphone, please. State your name and your address.
My name is Joshua Gomez. I live at the Hastings Village, 787 Hastings. Currently, I was brought there to assist in matters like this, I believe, in the beginning. Essentially, we've had an influx of more people there. We're at about 37 at the moment. Like she had said, we do not have water whatsoever on the property. I've made this clear to our city manager numerous times that just as a fire hazard alone issue, we need water there to put out a fire. Furthermore, sanitary abilities like taking a shower or washing your dishes, we can't do none of that stuff. We don't have water. The influx is going to get worse. We're about to have all the people that are getting kicked out of their homes because of COVID happening come this December. The numbers are going to rise. This is going to be a problem. I'm glad it got addressed. I'm not sure what their business actually does over there at the Mill Annex building. I've been wondering that since they first started. Yes, they have high security on that property, which surprises me. But nonetheless, they're fairly quiet. I actually had to call the police a couple weeks ago because they had an alarm going off for 2.5 hours solid. And I figured it should be assessed. I didn't know what it was. The police went over there and they looked around with their flashlights for a good 30 minutes before they ran into anybody that works there. That was alarming to me since they have a security building and all. But eventually the police left and the alarm was turned off about 10 minutes after that. I'm just concerned for the homeless and as well as businesses. I don't disagree with the trash that's accumulating. That's a big issue. We only have one dumpster on the property and we have it full nearly immediately after it gets emptied every time. The sanitary services is the biggest issue there, really at the moment. It needs to be addressed big time. I'm concerned with the well-being and livelihood of the people there as far as fires and whatnot are concerned coming this winter, like she was saying. We all basically rely on wood heat and or candles and propane heaters. They're very dangerous, especially inside of tents. It only took a matter of a half a minute for the young man Grossman's tent to be fully engulfed. And I'm glad he wasn't hurt too bad. I watched the fire department arrive. They did not even assess the fire. They assessed the injuries that the young man withstood, and then afterward went to deal with the fire. And they called in a truck that took another 12 minutes to get there before they even attempted to do anything about the fire. That was appalling to me, extremely appalling. I mean, I understand that they have processes and things, but if I had access to a fire hydrant, I could have had that fire out within minutes. That's, you know, I see things a little differently than people because I come from Arizona and I grew up here. I've been a resident here my whole life. I used to have a business here in town up until COVID. And now I'm homeless and it sucks, but like, you know, the homeless problem is going to continue and it's going to get worse. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions?
Did they have water there? We don't know,
We do
or?
not have any water whatsoever.
Did you at any time?
Up until a week ago, we did have water provided by the neighbor across the street from Arts's. They have a septic company or something like that.
And how come that stopped?
Allegedly he had a deep septic broken into. I asked to see the video footage so I could single out the person that was responsible, and he told me no. So I'm not sure that he has video footage of the assailant or there was a citizen assailant even. I don't know.
You want to wait till your report? Okay, on to consent agenda, October.
Michelle, I'm sorry. I wanted to speak to that too. I just didn't know it was on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't either.
thank you.
I didn't either.
I'm Lynn Modine. I like to check out things for myself. Go through the Pearl District, for example, before. Wanted to see exactly what's going on. And I do drive by the Hastings Village, which I think is a much preferred solution to what was random camping in our area. So we've encountered some unpleasant encounters in the past there on the trail, bike trail. And, I was concerned for my wife in that regard. So that's the Hastings Village does address that. And it does, I think, is trying to meet some needs. I like to nip rumors in the bud, and I've been told things, and you folks can answer me the question. I can just say, this is the way it is. This is what I was told. But I was told that there are needles being provided for people that were using drugs. I can't imagine that, but I'll find out. I'll go to the straight to the horse's mouth. Is that happening?
I can answer that question.
Well, I'm asking the city council. Okay, well, it sounds like if you approved it, you would know. So I will tell people that's not happening. From our city at least. And I can catch you later. So, anyway, that would be a relief because I would think that would perpetuate, the concern if that would happen. One other question I had is, on the election we recently had, there was a 2-year reference to 2-year prohibition on mushroom hallucinogens. And, are they legal elsewhere now? Mushroom hallucinogens? They're legal in the state. The whole state of Oregon. So we're slowing that down here to kind of study the results of that. Okay. Yeah, it kind of sounds like its allowance is likely with the 2-year hold. I hope it isn't.
We did that based on our attorney's recommendation.
I see. Oh, okay. Because we've all seen it. When there's an epidemic devastating your people, as the drug culture is doing, we know that legalizing or minimizing the use of cocaine and heroin is not the answer. And some of this stuff too is happening. We all see it. So I would hope that we would put as many walls up to protect people following it. So that's just another kind of problem that parents will see the same persuasion. Okay. Another way I like to do entertainment place at our park here. Yeah. Do we get to recommend music?
Send it to her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Anyone else on the homeless? Okay, on the consent agenda, October 10th, 2022 minutes. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it one.
Second. Motion to approve and second in discussion. Have a vote.
Counselor Boggs.
Aye.
Counselor Daigle.
Aye.
Counselor Whitaker.
Aye.
Counselor Smalley. Counselor Grousman.
Aye.
Counselor Hamilton.
Aye.
Mayor Sumner.
Aye.
Motion carries.
On the council business for 2022.1 schedule, staff report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Diane Harris, City Recorder. This all came about and started with the stage discussion we had at the October 9th meeting as far as rental fees. And it was a good time to be able to look at this fee schedule, which we haven't changed anything for the last 2 years. And yeah, and that was minimal what we changed 2 years ago. So I asked all the various departments to look at the fees pertaining to what their responsibilities are. And I received input from it, and those changes are proposed in this fee schedule. So if you have any questions, we do have finance, community development, public works here. And yeah, so to answer any questions, sorry. My brain froze.
I will make a motion to approve resolution 2022.12 fee schedule for discussion.
In a second? Second. Any discussion?
Okay.
You can't just round it off like the IRS does, And those 9 cents, 19 cents on tax on these things.
I think it's the CPIs.
Oh, just the water-based fees?
Yeah. It's per CPI.
Well, I will I'll tell you what, come this next August, when we do that, I will round them.
I know,
We'll
I'm clicking on
figure,
it.
I'll take it to the closest. How's that?
You know what, because that part's not linked.
Oh.
You have to go to the staff
yeah.
report.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm a fees for the. For the dance, yeah. What exactly are they responsible to clean? I mean, if it's.
Garbage.
I would think probably cleaning up after themselves, garbage, things laying around. Anything.
Security deposit, $50. And I'm sure they're not gonna be responsible for the other seven. This is just for the bandstand. Yeah, but it can't, you can't do it for the bandstand. Yeah. That's what that is. Yeah, just
So,
for the bandstand.
So they're,
There's
all
another
the
charge
garbage,
for the other
leaving a
property.
bunch of garbage is okay?
So if they got a concert there and they're gonna transfer on seven bandstand. That would be included, right?
Well, as I understand it, you would pay for use of the park. If you just want to use a bandstand, that's one thing. You still have to pay for your proportionate share of using the whole park. So you pay to use the park. And if you want to use the bandstand, you got to pay above and beyond to cover that.
So we got park rental fees as well.
No.
No,
We don't charge a
no,
park
we don't
fee.
use
You
those.
guys aren't supposed to dispute me.
Sorry,
Sorry.
unless you want exclusive park use.
Yeah, we don't. charge them.
Somebody
don't.
reserve Central Park.
That's what it's listed.
We don't, you can charge, like, people's not, can't reserve the gazebo first come, first served.
Uh-huh.
I think if you just, sorry, I'm new.
I knew. I
We
did
never
that.
do that. We never do.
Sometimes it's
Holy.
a responsibility to
Maybe
pick
we
up
should
after
kick that
yourself,
out.
but
Some
sometimes there are
kind of a,
food vendors and stuff that
area
don't. pick up after
they're
themselves, and that's
responsible
their-
for it, at least the bandstand.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's like 50 feet out,
Time out, if Blackberry Festival comes in and fills out a thing.
They-
would
That's,
pay-
but they have
Yeah,
exclusive
yeah.
rights, so Blackberry
Right,
and
that's
then
what I'm
we'll
talking
stop,
about.
but like, if you just wanna have your son's birthday party.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you have an event in the bandstand and you want exclusive rights to use the rest of the park, you pay that as well, right?
No,
No,
no.
Yeah.
we've never had a fee.
Right there.
we never.
Okay, so what about Music Off Central?
Even though we don't have to pay because.
But there's a fee for it.
No.
Now there is a,
Uh-uh.
Not for Blackberry. The ones that.
The nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
Yeah, there's no fee.
Okay, I'm totally confused.
Even with that, we still look around there, especially by the band area, grass and over to where our TX usually is. And look around and pick up any grass or anything that we see that needs to be picked up. And I think that should be, I mean, put it in there to make it clear, I guess. But
Mhm.
I don't think
In the
the
agreement.
entire park.
I
Just the grass area
thought,
around.
Yeah.
I thought that anybody that reserved the park for their exclusive use, we never charged the fee for that. We require 2 million insurance and all this other stuff, but we don't charge a fee for it.
Not if you're
Shame
a
on you
community.
guys, all of you, it's not my fault.
It's
Right.
not exclusive though.
But
Yeah.
I'm sorry. we
Because
should-
there's no way to close off.
It's just like in your rental form.
Yeah, it's-
Mhm.
I bet.
I like that. We will
Yeah,
do that.
add language in the agreement.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, lots of people want to just use a bandstand. They just want Car show,
We just got it.
all right.
Let's do a move.
We will incorporate that on the use, the facility
Yeah,
use
I
agreement.
apologize for.
what was that?
Hmm. 6, 7.
Who are you? I'm sorry.
Okay, those,
Mayor?
Yeah.
if I could just interrupt real quick, two things. One, because you're imposing new or increasing fees, under state law, you're required to take public comment. And though arguably you already did that at the beginning, I would specifically ask if anyone has public comment on this agenda item, just to make sure that there's no question that we satisfy state law. And then second, if I could just request that everyone really speak into their microphones, because it's really hard to hear some of you when you're speaking, you're not speaking into your microphones.
Perfect. Is there any public comment about imposing fees for our new bandstand? Or the whole fee schedule that's proposed in this meeting?
Voting on the entire fee schedule.
That was proposed in our packet tonight.
And there can be amendments if you choose to discuss any, yeah, there's a,
Review.
rid of the change.
With no public comment, any other further discussion?
722.
It's not that long enough for me. Okay, proceed to vote.
Yes, there is a motion. There's a motion on the floor. I only have like 5 things that I'm putting in once.
People got used to use it.
He didn't do it the first summer. It was the second year.
Are we ready?
Ready.
Any more? Okay. Counselor Boggs?
Aye.
Counselor Daigle?
No.
Counselor Whitaker?
Aye.
Counselor Smalley?
Aye.
Counselor Grousman?
Aye.
Counselor Hamilton?
Aye.
Mayor Sumner?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Public hearing supplemental budget adjustment. We're opening a public hearing
Did I say that?
and ready for staff report.
Mayor, councilors, Tammy Trowbridge, City Finance Director, and what we have here is the supplemental budget adjustment that reflects the adjustment that we did on the urban renewal side. This just increases the credit line of credit that can be accessed from the city by urban renewal. I don't expect it to be necessary for the whole year. But I just don't know how quickly the Main Street program will turn those reimbursements back around. So I wanted to make sure we had enough room to sustain that all the way to the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year if necessary. And this is, adjustment is necessary to appropriate the funds for that. And of course, all funds loaned to the Urban Renewal Agency will be repaid as the tax increment financing revenue starts gaining momentum and flowing back into the agency.
Do I have any public comment? Closing the public hearing. Now to resolution number 2022.13 supplemental budget adjustment. Do I have a motion? Make the motion to approve resolution 2022.13. Second.
I'll second for discussion.
Okay, any discussion? And for vote,
Counselor Boggs?
Well, do we have discussion?
no one dissent.
Just called it.
I waited.
I was busy reading.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, just one question or two, and one hopefully. So initially we started with $1 million loan, it's urban renewal. So are we now up to nearly 1.3?
No, we only used 450,000 last year.
Oh,
I know, but I mean, that's when we had appropriated $1 million to
Okay.
use potentially just in last fiscal year was not used. Only $457,000 was drawn down on that. So theoretically, there was another 500,000 that was easily usable, but I didn't budget for all of that this year because we didn't foresee any large projects. So I had budgeted for like a $250,000 line of credit. And with these two large projects that have come up, we wanted to bump that up, even though there will be more repayment opportunities in this fiscal year as well. And we'll know basically next week if the initial projection that the TIF revenues were going to be like in the hundreds of thousands this year. So once that happens, this loan will be repaid much quicker. Could be like an overnight loan, but that will be another budget adjustment.
okay.
Sorry.
Okay, any other discussion? Question? Comments? Okay, vote.
Counselor Boggs,
Aye.
Counselor Daigle, Counselor Whitaker,
Aye.
Counselor Smalley,
Aye.
Counselor Grossman,
Aye.
Counselor Hamilton, Mayor Sumner,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay, on to reports. League of Oregon Cities report. Council President.
Yes, 5 members of the city of Pokemon went to the League of Oregon City annual conference. It's the 97th conference that they've had. And that was held in Bend, Oregon from Wednesday, October the 5th to Friday the 7th. It was a very good conference. The 5 members broke up into different sessions because there was a total of 15 different sessions, 2 to 3 days of the contract of the conference, actually 2.5 days. So we took different sessions and breakout and all of that. I gave a report to the council members of my notes, and I got a lot out of it. I think that it was well worth the effort for us to go over there, even though it was smoky. Any questions that we have, I'll be willing to discuss a little bit. Doing none, well, there's no smoke.
Not people do it.
Okay, board fund report.
Mayor Sumner, City Council, Brian Elliott, Community Development. I just want to give you a quick update. It's been a couple months since we talked about what's going on. So, first I'm going to talk about the wetland delineation that's been going on out there. I don't know if you guys remember, but we went into the nationwide 42, which basically is an expedited process with the wetland process. But you only do that if it impacts 0.49 acres or less. We move forward with that, and with that, originally we identified that we're going to need about 1,200 linear feet of boardwalk. 2 weeks ago, we met with DSL, and they came out and reviewed the 2018 wetland delineation that was done by Land and Water Environmental, and it was noted to us that we will be able to use that along with the nationwide 42 permit. And what that is going to do is going to reduce that 1,200 linear feet of boardwalk, which was estimated about $1.2 million, down to about 500 linear feet. I don't have the cost at this time for that. I know I'm supposed to get them sometime this week. With that said, we also, because of the ADA accessibility on the boardwalk and the path, we had to was recommended by the Western Wood structures to do geotech on that to make sure that because of that material out there is kind of displaying, it's going to expand and do it, and whatever. want us to do that. So that was conducted last week. I do not have that report back yet, but that will kind of dictate what we use for a foundation out there for that 500 linear feet. Looks like it's going to be about a 1.5 foot diameter concrete, about 8 feet deep, those pillars for that to sit on, so we don't have that movement. Should have those numbers again by the end of this week, hopefully. The restrooms, pavilions, moving forward on that, will be 4 ADA accessible, multi-gender restrooms with, changing tables in there. They will be the 2 16 by 20 pavilions with 1 attached 16 by 20 to the restroom. The RV overflow parking, basically it's about 23,000 plus square footage that we're going to be working on that. That has not been discussed at this point. I know that we're shortfall a little bit of funds on that, but we'll work through that and do it in order to make those funds work for that overflow parking. The big one is the inclusive playground equipment. There's a significant shortfall on that. I think everybody understands that, but we'll be moving forward with what we have as with Architect, their subcontractor, Dyer, Parks Advisory Committee, Principal on City staff to something that will work for all there and be able to move forward with that. Our intent is hopefully January, come to council with the scope of work, the cost, the design fees, bring that to you all, and then move forward early spring, go out to bid, and then start construction as soon as possible, whether it's any, and hopefully have this project wrapped up and completed by early fall. I'm open to questions.
Okay, thank you.
This doesn't have to do with, well, I have to do with Floyd's Pond, but not the text that we're talking about. Having had any better luck with people in their minds out there not having their minds?
It seems to be a constant issue that trying to get the word out to remind people that they need to take care of their pets and waste.
Maybe we could have an officer that's not real busy one day and go down there. But it is possible.
Okay. On city manager report.
Probably real quick with my side, I'm going to ask Wayne and Pat to help fill in. We have been asked by the Oregon Mayor's Association and through the League and the League of Oregon Cities to join with them and present our park, our homeless concept to them for funding. And so we have done so. We're in the process of doing a specific write-up. The mayor got a thing and we got the thing and we talked to them. We're working on multiple strands of plans that will eventually have the, going someplace else. But in the meantime, I want Wayne and Pat to give you an update on the progress that we have made and expect to make in the future.
How's it going, everybody? I'm Wayne Ellsworth, live at now 355 South California Street. So doing a report today, I was asked to do this. So good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager, City staff, chiefs, and everyone here or watching at home. It's been a year. It has been quite a journey. This is what we've been able to do. Hastings Village has found shelter for almost 100 different people, with just under half of them being able to find other living arrangements with some help from our local resources. Crime, offensive littering, loitering, trespassing, needles, public drinking and intoxication, and vandalism associated with homelessness, because we know that not everybody that is homeless participates in those kind of behaviors, but this is just associated with homelessness, has gone down considerably. In the instances where it does happen are mitigated appropriately and effectively with our city's security camera systems. Our police department now has a wonderful relationship with most of the unhoused population and has become educated on how to use local resources instead of traditional police intervention. Houseless citizens who do break the law are dealt with swiftly and appropriately. Most of the time, it isn't being done by people on the streets. People are becoming self-sufficient. We currently have 5 people working, and we have 4 people with Social Security and disability that are waiting on appropriate housing. We have helped 5 different individuals pay fines through designated work programs. Churches, the pantry, St. Vincent de Paul, and local citizens have come together to try and meet the needs with clothing, food, shelter, peer support, and other resources. ADAPT, HIV Alliance, Easter Seals, Umpqua Health Alliance, and Love Thy Neighbor Project have all been helpful in getting people connected with primary care, laundry, sanitation, wound care, needle collection, Narcan, case management, cell phones, peer support, SSI, shelter, and other resources. ADAPT Crisis has been effective in helping people in behavioral health emergencies, and the local fire department has been helpful with checking on people with known injuries and concerns. We've been able to do this because Sutherland took a chance and did what needed to be done. It is working. I promised I would always be honest and transparent. There unfortunately are some things that have happened that we can grow from. Keep in mind that these things are happening behind closed doors all over the city. Our in-house folks don't have the luxury of hiding it. There have been 2 villagers that participated in illegal activities. Our local police department appropriately investigated, and now they are in a place where they can't do those things. We have had 1 physical altercation. The person responsible was lodged in our local facility, released, and is now located in Roseburg, getting the resources that they need to be successful. Our local fire department has been called a few times for fires. The latest one was an actual structure that caught fire because of a heater being too close to a sleeping bag. This villager was brought to mercy and released with burns on their feet. Our local police have had many calls about domestic disturbances. We have 1 villager that the village residents revived from an accidental overdose, and the person that revived him is right there. And we did that because of the amount of Narcan and education that HIV Alliance has put into the residents. And just so you know, we've had 1 out there when Umpqua Ambulance reports that are getting called on about 29 overdoses a week. So this isn't a homeless issue, it's a substance use issue. We have a lot of villagers out there, 35 people currently residing at the Hastings Village, 37 as of today. I wrote this last night. With that comes a lot of what we could call garbage, hoarding or collecting. People who are housed can hide these things. These miscellaneous items create a bad appearance. A majority of the concerns at the village is concerned around how it looks, or centered around how it looks. We have done 2 build outs with 2 big village cleaning events, but because the village isn't regulated daily, the villagers just end up putting all of their belongings inside their structures. This creates concern for fires. Another concern is the number of animals out there. There are many dogs and cats with their owners not picking up after them. Local organizations have been helping with food, spade and neutering, vaccines, and other shots. So where's Umpqua Hart in developing the future of this initiative? Umpqua Hart has entered into an agreement with Jensen Strategies, Leland Consulting Group, and IE Engineering. It is Umpqua Hart's and the Sutherland leadership's goal to have a piece of land to develop that is centrally located in Douglas County to create a regional facility to transition people out of houselessness. We are currently developing a pre-application for the city of Roseburg for a property at 4092 Diamond Lake Boulevard. Through communications with the city, our team has decided that the potential property isn't the most viable. We will be taking this week to look at other potential properties that could serve us better. Concerns for this property are the distance away from services, proper transportation, and zoning. We are looking forward to having all these concerns met, plus making sure that this is the most viable property before the Roseburg Homeless Commission meeting on Monday, the 28th of November. With the recommendation from this commission and a successful application process, we'll be asking for funding to purchase the property, and it'll be able to receive citizens experiencing houselessness or housing insecurities by June of 2023. Finally, what do we need from Sutherland? First, We need Sutherland's support in creating a formal agreement with Umpqua Heart to clearly show what, where, when, and how the response to houselessness will be like, and what Umpqua Heart and the city are responsible for. This definition can be used to translate what the expectations will be in Roseburg. Umpqua Heart will be looking to lease the Hastings Village property to continue its use as an emergency shelter under legislative measure until an alternative shelter is created. This is to be completed and ready for habitation by June of 2023. This will also put all responsibility and liability on Umpqua Heart instead of the city. Umpqua Heart is looking to be the agency of accountability and integrity. If we are teaching our villagers on how to be accountable, we must be accountable for our initiatives. We will develop a budget to show exactly what it will cost to run this emergency shelter from a potential time frame from January to June. Second, we need water out there. The village was able to use the neighbor's water until someone broke into the neighbor's truck. Now the neighbor has taken away water and electricity, and it has not been determined if it was a villager or not. Village leadership claims that the village is not responsible. With the number of people that are currently residing in the village, it is important, not just from a fire standpoint, but for sanitation, cooking, and drinking. Having clean water will enhance our efforts in the village by simply supplying something that every human needs. Finally, we potentially need some funding to help pay for the consultation costs until already benchmark funds come in. The Southern leadership team and Umpqua Heart board members will be meeting with representatives from Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley's office tomorrow at 1 p.m. to discuss further potential funding and touring the village. Umpqua Heart will be working with Representative Goodwin to write a bill for $4 million to mitigate homelessness in Douglas County. We are looking into $1 million that was designated for a tiny home village in Douglas County, and we'll be looking for support from Douglas County and the Cow Creek Tribe Band of Umpqua Indians. And that's what I have for a report. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Question. What is your recommendation and the solutions for the water problem, the fire suppression problem, and the dumpster problem?
So I believe that in order to, we'll start with the sanitation when it comes to trash. Either having more regular dumping or having a bigger dumpster. Right now we have a very huge dumpster. I don't know what size that is. Aaron, what size is that big one?
It's currently about a quarter full. 20 yard weather. We haven't really, and us erecting the new tar buildings, we haven't really gotten to cleaning up the lot like yet.
We believe that we can fill up that dumpster.
Yeah.
So, but more regular dumpings would be appropriate. When it comes to water, in a perfect world, it would be nice to have water run to that property in a form of a spigot out there. However, I don't know how feasible that is. We have been talking about having some sort of cistern out there that would have a good chunk of water that we can routinely treat and refill.
What do you call a good chunk of water? 1,500 gallons?
2,500 gallons. That's the size of our tender, I think, in the fire department. So that's a pretty good chunk.
Is that how much they use on a monthly basis? Weekly?
Well, right now,
You know,
it's harder to tell right now because we have a lot more people than anticipated. You know, that's the real frustrating part. And people out there are feeling it too. Just because when I made the decision to step out and try to coordinate the efforts of this, I was considering anything between 14 and 18 people. Having 35 people, and what Josh said before is absolutely right. All of the different COVID restrictions when it comes to evicting people will be over by the end of the year. We're going to have a 14.4 rent increase hike as of January. So the potential of homelessness is a lot. And I believe that if we don't respond in the way that we're already responding, we could be behind the 8 ball. So when it comes to water, I would rather have more than less. And I believe that 2,500 gallons would definitely be a good chunk for about a monthly run with these 35 people.
You have you determined what the maximum amount of people. What about Syria?
18, but we have 35. It's very frustrating, and I told you guys I'd be completely honest with you guys, so I hope you understand and appreciate that. Finding resources in the town of Sutherland to be able to help out 35 people in a confined area is very, very hard to do. If it wasn't for the churches and the awesome citizens out there, we would be having a really, really hard time helping folks. They've been really good. The pantry has been really good. And we've had some mishaps where people have accidentally set their stuff on fire, where our mess hall actually burnt down and we lost a lot of food. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that these things do happen. And we need to be able to find a way where we can have enough resources to be able to, I guess, service the need. And we can tell you that these aren't all the people living on the streets of Sutherland right now. It's just the ones that want to have a safe place to go to are the ones that are showing up over there. And it is up to the council that's out there to keep that place safe. So there are some issues and there are some things that we can absolutely grow on, but focusing on the future, I think with having a couple little changes would go a long way. Yeah.
Wayne, have you heard about or checked the homeless up in Cottage Grove?
Actually,
They have little, I guess, I never noticed it every time I go by there, and I haven't seen them, but there's two little buildings there.
yeah, they have a pod village behind that coffee place brewery, like right down the road there that I actually went to. So Cottage Grove, the city of Cottage Grove, when I first got my first shower trailer through Adapt, their leadership, the city manager, city councilors, and a couple other folks from the city came, and they were seeing what I was doing in Winston because they heard about what I was doing. And they asked me, in a perfect world, what would you do? And I literally gave them this plan. And that's what they started to do.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, except I don't have the funds. Yeah, I don't have the funds or the people.
Did they say what they are for building?
So those pods that they have, those are roughly around $5,500 pre-COVID. So I don't know what it is right now. The ones at the navigation center that's in Roseburg, those ones have heating and cooling with electricity, and they can service up to 2 people. And right now they have 100 and some waiting list. So it's about 2 years before anybody can get into those pods. But those were $8,500 a piece. We have a fortunate advantage with the people that we serve in Sutherland, that they do have a lot of good skills in construction. And we have a lot of good people that like to volunteer that are very good at construction. So we can supply a mentorship program to help people build their own little shed like that. And the ones that I built over there with United Way dollars, they ended up costing about $3,100 a piece. And they have, like I said, about a 400-watt solar system, which I'm not perfect at yet. We're working on it to develop something a little bit better.
One idea that because they've done stuff like this in the past, is partnering with the wood shop at the high school. That would be a nice project.
So I talked to Mr. Gary.
Got one out.
Yeah, we talked about that, and we're looking at a partnership with Habitat for Humanity and Operation Tiny Home to possibly engage all the woodshop programs in Douglas County to have a tiny home building competition that can build the best concept tiny home that's the most energy efficient, with all of the homes being donated to Uncle Hart for its initiative, and having the winning shop class through Operation Tiny Home be able to outfit that shop class with brand new Milwaukee tools. It's just the start of an idea. We just talked about it last year during graduation, but we have had conversations. Absolutely.
How many of the 37 are from not in Sutherland?
That's a really good question, because I actually cross-reference everybody that I meet with our local police department. And so far, everybody that is from Roseburg has been asked to leave. And we've asked to leave 2 people from Roseburg totally. There's other people that have lived in Roseburg for a little while, but they're originally either from Sutherland or Oakland. It's really looking up their background check. It's asking, our local police department, where's their last known address, and they can pull that up on their computer system.
From the gate, I particularly assess that myself because, like I said, I've been a resident of this town and area my whole life. I'm 42 years old, so I pretty much know everybody. You know what I mean? I know a couple of the council members are sitting here now from my early years. So essentially, we've only had a very few, like Wayne said, 4, I think, maybe 5 non-settlement Oakland residents that we took to, and they stayed a couple of days and moved on, which I think is a viable solution to at least give them somewhere to be safe for now, so they can go somewhere else.
Absolutely. So there's been people also from Coos Bay, and then people moving up down the I-5 that have found respite at this place, and Josh and a couple of the other council members will get them set up for the night, and then we come in the next day with our local resources and we try to help them transition, for sure.
And the other thing is, on the west side, you have all the trees and shrubs and stuff, but on this side, it's pretty much they're out there. Wondering, and this is probably for Jerry or Aaron, fence slats or like those canvases they put on fences to block.
For more like privacy,
Yeah,
I think that has been talked about in the past.
yeah,
and
it seems like we mentioned the slats, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, we've done it on everything except the east side. I mean, the north side. And Inland Empire Foods is one of them. No,
We've just done it on the west side.
It's not as out there on
But
that
isn't
side
this
as it
just a
is.
Band-Aid to the problem? I mean, I get that when I say drive by, we're not gonna see it, but it doesn't solve any of the issues listed. Or the ones that I brought, and I tell you, I have a serious concern to do this, the potential of most people is, it sounds like it's more of a reality than a potential.
I would say the influx from December will be 3 to 5 times what we have, no question.
So I want to know about that. I mean, but yeah, I don't know what you would tell these folks what to do. I mean, it's a,
Essentially,
The hardest part about this situation is seriously the fact that, we're all volunteers. Okay, we try to do the best we can with the resources we have. And the best thing I can do is stop over twice a week, do the mail, because we actually through Uncle Hart have established a post office for the folks so they can receive mail regularly. But I do the mail and I check in and stuff, and I let the council do their work. There's about 5 of them that have taken over leadership in different roles. And then they relate back to me what's going on, and then I relate it back to you folks. For the most part, I'm very in touch with what is happening over there and how things are being handled. There's other things, that I know that I could do better if I had more time. And, the goal is to be able to establish Uncle Hart with a director, but without proper funding, it makes it really, really hard to hire appropriate people to do what Uncle Hart wants to do. And that's really to be able to supply a leadership team that can give the peer support, the case management, people that can do the collaborating to help people become successful. And until that is established with proper funding, it's always going to be a little bit harder than it could be.
I did read today, though, that the COVID funding has been extended to at least the self-sufficiency, so I was assuming that it's probably going to extend to other programs as well.
May I ask another question?
no, I got things to say.
Well, I have 2 questions on this.
Only with the mic though.
Oh, sorry. Okay, it's okay with you? Sorry. Thank you. So when we talk about all these other folks coming, potentially, right. So at some point, I am assuming that this will be assessed as far as safety. I mean, because it appears to me with everything I've heard, the sanitation, everything else, that there's a huge concern as far as what are we gonna do here? I don't know. I just want to throw it out, I guess, with everything else. I don't have a real question on that. But my second question is, I thought this was temporary for the camp, but did I hear you say that this is gonna be purchased and permanent?
Nope.
Okay, I misheard what he said. That was my second question. So sorry.
We're looking
for
another viable option. Yeah, that's why.
Okay, okay. I thought you said for an emergency shelter or something, this was gonna be continued.
No, we're
Okay,
looking at-
but I really want to hammer about this cap
Down.
with everything that I brought to the table. tonight.
To these days, in the village for emergency location.
If people don't go there, or the place that we provide, they can go anywhere that they want.
I do. So I don't know, maybe there needs to be a second site. I don't know. Because with what I hear happening across the with the increase of people that are there now, I think this is eventually gonna be a time bomb. Especially when he talks about the lack of leadership resources. And just basic human resources. I don't have $1 billion to give you. I can just tell from being on the other side of the fence, the privacy slats are great, but they don't stop anything that's going on as far as me seeing, hearing, or being concerned about. So anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'd like to move to that route. The water. Oh, you're blocking?
Yeah.
I've been trying to talk for the last hour.
It's killing him.
Well, the reason I do, because I think we can answer some questions.
Go ahead, as long as it covers water, fire protection is that.
Yes. Well, I want to go back to the core of this whole thing. This got dumped on us by the courts. It doesn't matter if there's an influx of more people. We're required by law either provide an alternative or they can sleep anywhere. Look at the Pearl District, go into San Francisco, Portland, anywhere. When we began this process, the reason it has worked out so wonderful is because of him. And he came to us with our first idea was to get it out of there, move them over here. You know, by law, we could make them clear out every morning at 8 o'clock and keep it closed and open it up again at 8 o'clock at night. We're only required to provide by law to provide an alternative space for them to sleep, not to set up camp and live. But we've done that because of him and you guys and the partnership that we have that has made it work. In this process, though, the sense of entitlement that I know this and you should get this. And you should get that. I'm not interested in providing water to the city services based on exactly what happened before. I'm willing to bring in a buffalo, what we call an army, a large tank that would keep it filled on a regular basis. And if they empty it, they empty it. But the hose isn't going 24/7 and we don't have a view. We could consider putting a larger dumpster in if that helps the situation. And we really appreciate the council's leadership. This wouldn't work if they weren't doing this because none of the other cities are doing it. And the reason they aren't doing it, because they can't make it work because they've got so many that they have to provide 24/7 oversight and they can't afford the budget to pay for the staff to oversee it. And the only reason this works is because your core group has done the best you can. And Wayne has made this work and it's worked to this point. On the other hand, to answer your question, yes, we have a contingency plan we're working on at this very moment. Consider an alternative site that will provide more security and privacy if the city land use cops don't kill it. We do have that if it starts to go that way. Wayne and we all met on Friday, but Wayne's on track to move this thing forward. And on the 28th of November, which is an important day, he hopes to gather the support. We're working at looking at 4 other alternative sites. We're working at transitioning this whole thing to Umpqua Heart because the other government agencies don't like the idea that the city of Sutherland is in the lead on this for whatever reason. I credit, whatever, ego, whatever. So we're making everything Umpqua Heart. And so we do intend to help pay for the consultants to do their plan. And I'll work on getting water, but I just don't want to expend any more city funds to dig up, put in a meter and just have that water flow 24/7. That's what would happen. So, and fire is simple. We'll have water there with a hose and,
Dumpster, who provides the dumpster?
we do.
Okay.
I mean, this has been all our cost. We probably spend $150,000 right now, city resources, in keeping that thing going.
For the,
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I mean, at a point, we just say, all right, we gotta hold the line, money's getting tight. But when you consider all the staff time and all the money we put in and we supported, we contributed $9,000 so they could put something down on a piece of property and tie it up. But we're working on what he called, what we're doing is an IGA, it'll be an agreement. in which Money spent going forward will be a loan with a possible forgivable grant, depending on if they move quickly, we can get this thing moved. But it isn't our plan to keep it there. But it is an intermediate plan that if he can't get his thing up and going and moving quickly enough, and this thing explodes, we're in the process of looking for alternatives. Of course they are.
I brought that to the table.
Yeah. And once again, who's paying for it? Taxpayers. And at some point, you know,
Potential weapon.
but this wouldn't happen were him. Even just this weekend, he went over to clean it up because we got the senators coming tomorrow. Consider a $1.6 million investment into our program. This thing's going to road for, you know, in 3 days. But the point is, we had to get the place cleaned up. He came in with his own money and his own wallet. We brought a big dumpster in and spent all weekend long cleaning it up with the crews. And again, if it weren't for them and them, this wouldn't even be happening at this level. But I also want to temper people's expectations that we aren't going to just keep, you know, next thing it's going to be water and the next thing's going to be, boy, it'd be great if we could have a condo out here, you know, something, you know, swimming pool at some point. We're doing what we can, and we're going to continue to do what we can. But this has been an amazing template. The city of Portland's following our template now. I don't know if you know, they're building 6 campuses modeled after our project. League of Oregon Cities has taken ours and invited us to go in with them to seek another $1.3 million in funds because they like the project. So that's being presented to the legislature. So it's been remarkable what we've done, and pat ourselves in the back and be grateful. But at the same time, we still have these things that we have to work through.
Yeah.
And that's the end of my speech.
So Wayne is Senator Wyden is coming tomorrow,
Your team.
their team.
Why
Do
didn't
you have a means of talking to them about the immediate needs and funding for that?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a business model and a sustainability plan and timeline that we have worked on that we'll be able to talk about and what the phases look like for the immediate need. So, yes, the short answer is yes, but I do want to clarify with Jerry a little bit. We did spend the money to do the cleanup, but it was his team that did a majority of, yeah, we did have a fire in between it, but they're doing all the cleaning.
I was surprised and distressed to see that they cut the fence. And I saw them crawling through the fence, so I think I might have mentioned that to Aaron. Did that?
So Aaron and I
Yes.
went through and we looked at, there's 3 holes in the fence. And I don't know why people are doing it, but the only thing I can say is I believe it's because people don't want to be caught on camera that are coming through the fence. And we have talked about it with the council and we tried to assess it, and we don't actually know who's doing that. So I've actually talked to Kurt Sorensen about it, and we're supposed to be looking at video footage, and we're also going to be assessing the amount of vehicles that are going by.
There's a lot of vehicles that came
I
out.
hear it's like a highway. Personally, I know a couple of the vehicles that come, but it's more about like finding out how we can keep our villagers safer instead of finding fault. So we want to be able to help them out as best they can, keep secure.
Well, and keeping the area businesses and the people safe.
That's what I mean.
Except for you, Joe. We're gonna move on to an open state, right?
I would love to be able to put a cap on this. The problem that I have, and we've already talked about it a little bit, you know, if we cap it and we get to that spot, then there's people that would be able to stay somewhere because we don't have an alternate place. The second thing is, I can't police it personally. I can't be there 24 hours a day and I can't be there 8 hours a day. I have certain responsibilities to my actual job for now. Hopefully that'll change soon, but right now I have to be able to bring home the bacon, so to speak. So I can't do that. So if we wanted to put a cap on it, that's entirely up to you guys. However, when you do it, then someone else is going to have to police it.
Well, if we put a cap on that property, then if,
Central Park's the next option for them.
if they, have to transport somebody over there that's just hanging out in the city, I thought they had to provide another source for them.
We do.
We do.
So if it's capped, then you can't do that with the police department. So they're just, you know what else is gonna be hanging down.
And it actually wouldn't be Central Park, it's the water department. That's where they go next. So,
Water control district, yeah.
but yeah, you're absolutely
I
right.
don't think we could put a cap on it because we're.
I believe in it, and I'm not a professional person. I try to talk nice and stuff and whatever, put together these cute little reports. I'm not really professional though. The thing is, if we had appropriate funding with appropriate resources, then we would be able to transition a lot of these folks after we get the resources, because a majority of the folks are using the resources. I mean, we have made calls to DHS. They've come right out to the property, or else I send them over there. We have Uncle Health Alliance that comes out and helps out with people with OHP or phones. I mean, we have people that are connected out there for everything. The thing that we lack, of course, is the housing piece. When people are on Social Security making $750 a month, they're not going to be paying $800 for the cheapest apartment in Roseburg.
And on top of that, you're required to make it 3 times the rental amount per month. So you can qualify the rent.
So it's really hard to get the people that are right now living in tents that are self-sufficient into housing when you don't have it. So that's why the next phase of Uncle Hart's plan is to build these micro shelters to get them a place of more security. Right now, we have 2 folks that we're working on Social Security for the one, and we're working on employment and a driver's license on the other one. Once they obtain those things, they will actually achieve that point of self-sufficiency, where Uncle Hart should have had phase 3 already developed, where we could put them in a tiny home that they can afford, that they can start working on home ownership. It's a great plan. It'll absolutely work, but time is never on our side. Money is never on our side, and support is never on our side. So if we had all those things coming in, we definitely could do a lot of wonderful things.
Another thing is, we've already been down to 30 degrees here, or I'm sure you guys have been talking about the warming center, no?
Well, we have.
Over the holiday season, that building will not be used for warming center with all the Christmas and holiday activities for the community.
We currently have a majority of the churches right now setting up a meeting to take on those kind of coordinated efforts. Hopefully we'll be meeting. I was hoping it was going to be this week, but it's probably going to be next week. Seventh-day Adventist Church, Father. There's just a lot of churches. I don't want to name them all just in case I get one wrong, but there's a lot of churches that want to come together and start really digging their teeth in and helping. So when it comes to a warming
Again, thanks to him.
it's everybody involved. But when it comes to the churches, it's really nice because they can be put on a rotation. So the load, more hands equal less work sort of idea. That's what we're trying to do.
Wonderful.
Any other questions for me?
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Okay, on to city council comments. Remember, monthly meeting time is limited. Please ask questions or make statements that are likely to benefit the group. Individual comments or questions that can be handled on a one-on-one basis should be handled outside the meeting. Councilor Daigle. Yeah.
In regards to the homeless issues, my family.
There you go.
Thank you.
In regards,
Perfect.
my family has a small business down my cousin. And they're getting visited by homeless people quite often, actually. For no reason, because they can't provide anything, but these people ask them for things. This village, I mean, what did you expect was gonna happen? 18 people just come and that end it? Of course not. The more you give, the more the people are gonna come to take it. So I think we're on a terrible path here. And I don't know what the answer is. I realize we have to do this. One of the things that kind of bothers me is people who really need a home because they lost their home, whatever. I have compassion for them, but people who are homeless because that's the choice, the lifestyle they chose. I don't have a lot of feeling for that. I don't care what they do, as long as they give someone else. And it's really for that matter. But here we live in a state that's real liberal and we're going to get these things close to us, whether we want to or not. And so here we are. Anyhow, that's all.
Councilor Whitaker.
Well, I just wanted to thank the council for the one meeting that I missed where you decided to volunteer.
We got voluntold.
The employee handbook policies. That's been keeping me busy. It's a great read. I think you all ought to.
Be good at.
Yeah.
We did.
Hope you.
Councilor Smalley.
Well, Larry kind of stole my line. The other one, right? I get it. Won't happen again. That's right. I do apologize about missing a couple meetings.
It's a great partnership, though. We appreciate your input when you look at those.
Councilor Grossman.
I was going to try to say.
What about John?
And you got two pages, you got one?
I have a book about that thing.
Mhm.
No, I don't have any comments, but, the only remark that I have is we're in this in the long run with homeless as long as there is. And there's homeless and there's houseless. And I think the community is taking care, trying to take care of those that are abusing the. So.
As our council.
Okay, that's what.
Councilor Hamilton.
I just want to thank the Lions Club for the flags. They should look
Yeah.
great when you're going down the street. I always want to get out and take a picture with the traffic there. I want to thank Public Works. I see the Christmas decorations are going up, so I think everybody excited. Yeah. Had a few people say that to me.
After
But
Thanksgiving.
the trees aren't going up till after, or not till December now? Is that right?
No, they're gonna be up here pretty soon.
Well, you told us December.
December, I don't,
That's when they'll be lit.
yeah, oh,
Jerry?
he didn't even know if we charged the park or not.
I resemble that remark. No, when are we gonna do the lighting though?
After the turkey comes through.
Right, I know that, but exactly
The
what
tree
date?
up or the Christmas lighting?
The street lighting.
The street lighting.
December 4th.
The problem is we chamber right now is kind of at a, I don't know if they're standstill, but they usually
Right,
schedule the lighting and
right,
coordinate it with us.
Right.
And
my grandson insists upon knowing, can't anybody tell us?
Well, Christy would turn them on today if it was up to her.
Yes,
Yeah, I know, so
We
Thank
kind
you.
of said,
So we can do it on, okay, Thanksgiving's on the 24th, right? Are we gonna turn them on the 25th?
I thought that there was a date for that.
Yes, please do that.
I just think the public should know. What are we
The day
doing?
after Thanksgiving, I
I think last year we did turn them on. Start.
When again now?
The 25th.
Okay, good. My grandson will be that weekend and that's what he really wanted and that's all I promised.
But you're talking about the street lights.
Yeah.
Not the big
Not
tree
street.
lights.
I think you do it by a laptop.
She has remote control.
People find it kind of strange that for the city of Keys, that we have an artificial Christmas tree.
Oh, Tree City.
Tree City USA.
That's the way he was then, though.
Oh,
Development on apartment day, they just paid the entryway and stuff like that, right? They had a couple of big holes in there, car dropped in, they fixed those. But I don't know, if beyond that. Is.
Depends on town. Depends on-
That's up there.
It's just, if you get a
I
chance.
heard
to-
another-
They need to have some pastoral area, you know, that's-
Okay, it's a county, it's a stretch of county road
that-
right through that, but we'll, right adjacent to that work, further out, or?
Well, it's just beyond where they used to park their trucks when they were flagging the road. and
Okay.
stuff like that. They just broke it down a little bit. Maybe it's a county problem. All right,
I missed what he was saying.
Uh-huh.
but I think for me, this will be my last council meeting.
Hmm?
Once the election's over, I'm going to be submitting in the next few days, the resignation effective December 1st.
Well, congratulations, Gary.
I have,
Did you know that? And now, I thought you'd wait a little longer than that.
well, I have other. things
Called it.
going on that I need to address.
I called it.
Fallback plan. Delaying things, and so this is not. And thank you very much. It's been 12 years.
Thank you.
Thank
That's
you.
everything about-
Thank you, Councilor Dodd. Okay,
Okay, first, we want to clean off my cat's 900 stuff.
right.
You know that means you're in.
I think I have to accept your recommendation first.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think he cares.
So what, the December meeting, we have to,
All right, well, thank you very
we
much.
need to add
for your
that to
service.
December. Additionally accept his resignation.
Well, Gary
No,
wasn't
it
here.
wasn't.
When you do what? Since you are, I think.
I just had one thing I wanted to ask. I did, talk at the, SKP Park, and one of the things they asked, they were really thankful and happy with the, paving of Everett and State Street. They did, mention that, they still see a lot of people are running the stop signs. And they asked if there's any way possibly that stop could be also written on the street. And thought maybe that would also be an added deterrent or make it a little more visible on State Street. That State Street, people just drive right through because people are going pretty fast.
Yeah, you have to bear in mind that a lot of people do that for the residents of the town for their whole lives, and are your guys' safe. Also, they're gonna continue to do even paint on the street or. put up
Okay,
signs.
I'll stop.
They don't
I
care.
promise.
I see it as well, but
Oh,
We have
And on the
considered
sidewalk.
a lit stop sign.
oh, that might be helpful.
We've also considered this stop on the road. I don't, we can look at either one of those options.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you very much. All right, we adjourn.
He forgot public comment.
Good night, Chad. Good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving.